radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind. Yeah. Listen to the sounds of DJ 440 right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, that's right, baby. Driving home and you feeling kinda tired. Radio play, same thing every day. So many years slips in your mind. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in the Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype. But one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? You need something to just ride to on the go. Or you might be home so long gone. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'm gonna say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9.
Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday, October 20th. Good evening to all that is tuned in. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Powerhouse Radio YouTube page. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Hey, let's Gripe. How's everybody feeling on this Wednesday, October 20th?
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing tonight?
This year is tick-tocking on by. It's October 20th. We are on the countdown to Turkey Day, Christmas, and New Year's. It's all within that window, right around the corner.
Exactly. And we have so much to get into tonight. So, we're going to have to keep some of the, topics to at least, time limit because there's just so much going on right now just to get caught up. So, gripes, I have a gripe. My gripe is when you ask a question and I answer you, why you are going to ask me a question again and ask me if I'm sure. See, that's when my face started to look like this. That's my gripe.
Lord.
So I ask you a question, you answer it, and then I ask you a similar question right behind it, and then I say, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
But
or, right, but I answer you. Oh, and this one tops it all off. And then on top of that, I ask you for the information I need. You tell me one moment. Then you come back and say, are you ready?
Brace yourself. Brace yourself.
So you know me. So you know what I do? If we face to face, and if we on the phone, I'm waiting on you. Hey, Ken, how are you? So yes, Kim, yeah, that's her. This that winter look. She's letting the hair grow back in, and when it started to grow back in, it kind of not looking the way I like it, so I just kind of change it up. But hey, but
what up, Kim?
That's my gripe tonight, y'all.
McKenna, what you got on deck?
I mean, I'm pretty good. I would just say that my gripe this week is people who drive too fast in the neighborhood. I mean, to get to where I live, there's like a little curve. And twice this week, people were flying around that curve and kids were out in the street playing basketball. And I saw a car have to screech and come to a quick stop because they were doing more than 25 miles an hour around that curve in the neighborhood. And then the second gripe would be people who drive in the middle of the road. Like there is a lane. And the phrase "stay in your lane." It means it started out meaning traffic. It means a lot of things, but it primarily started out with traffic. So stay in your lane in traffic. Why are we swerving over here to the left? Now you're in the middle. Now you have to autocorrect and jerk back right, all while on your cellular phone, because I'm looking at you. And I'm thinking, if you can't text and talk and drive, that's why there are laws against it. So perhaps you might want to go back to the old school 10 and 2 and pay attention to what you're doing. Now, we're all guilty of, swerving sometimes, but, when you see yourself swerving and you autocorrect and then you do it again, that's my gripe. So everybody slow down. Just slow down. It's fall now, so there's no need to be in a hurry. The end of the day is going to catch you. 7:30. It's dark now, but slow down. Pay attention. So that's my gripe.
Woo. I got a little gripe today, man. I didn't even have a gripe until a second ago, actually, which is crazy because I just thought about this today when you were talking about driving and stuff like that, and I remember what happened to me this morning. I was driving, right, and half of it's me, my personality, and the other half is the driver, because I got this big thing about people being in the fast lane driving the speed limit. Like, come on now. If you want to do speed limit, just stay in the middle lane or whatever other lane, but don't be in the fast lane. That's what people that want to go 10 above, and if you want to play with your luck, you can go a little faster than that or whatever. That's on you. That's your thing. But you have that HOV lane, right? Or the Peach Pass lane, as it is now for most places, right? So I'm driving this morning. I'm in the fast lane doing my 10 or whatever, I'm driving, but in the HOV lane, I see this bus, the buses that usually go from downtown to some other place, as opposed to like regular MARTA buses. So this bus did a covert move and jumped right in front of me, so I had to slow down and hit my brakes a little bit, So I'm back here like, giving the international sign, like what, what's going on? What's up? And so as I'm driving past this bus, guess what the bus driver do? She gonna shoot the bird out the window at me. Yeah. I had half a mind to say, if I were to quarter her and report her to her people, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you shooting the bird at me when you jumped in front of me? I'm just like, why? Why?
Why not?
Why?
Look, are you ready? You ready for it?
This is how accidents happen, because this is when people start playing in traffic. This is when I've seen people speed in front of her and then slow down. This is when people start playing those games.
Yeah. Being petty. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm petty. Like for people that want to get over, especially if I'm getting on 20. Those people that ride in the fast lane when you're trying to get on 20 and then come all the way over at the last minute. Those people, I don't even let y'all in. You know what I mean? I'll speed up or slow down and look right at you. Because knew.
And that is a prime example why there's road rage.
Because
I'm just saying.
2 miles ago, you're going to have to get over into this lane. But you chose, I'm going to get into this fast lane. You know what I'm going to do? Last minute, I'm going to jump over there and almost cause an accident.
But no, listen. And you know that I'm going about 70 miles an hour. Please tell me how I am going to be able to stop, brake before I run into you or somebody else. Please tell me how this is going to happen at 70 plus miles per hour.
Those people who do it know that you are practical and you're going to slow down because you don't want to get in an accident. They're not worried about the accident. They know that you don't want the accident. So here they come zooming across 2 and 3 lanes of traffic. And we've all seen it like, whoa, he just took that. And didn't even think about whether or not I saw him coming or not.
Didn't care.
What if I was about to switch lanes at the same time? Because we've seen that too. One car in the left lane, one car in the right lane. I'm in the middle lane, and you see these 2 cars do this at the same time, and you're thinking,
"Yep,
over here."
Getting on 20 is the most dangerous part of the highway in Georgia, I believe. It's because of that reason right there. You have people merging from people are merging from getting onto the highway. Then there are people emerging to try to get on 20. So it's really, really dangerous. But now
Kim
Kim,
says they made
they do. It be your cousin, them Kim.
To be honest, y'all, it's so much people from the West Coast, the East Coast, the Midwest, all over driving in Georgia, and I'm not gonna say nothing about the Georgia people because I love Marcus so much. However, it's just all
Oh, it's
type
not
of
us.
drivers.
Oh, it's not us.
It's not the natives.
Nah,
Oh no,
nah,
it's not. It's not us. It's the people
no.
from other places.
We can fight on that. Because y'all, when it rain, y'all act like it's a snowstorm.
Yeah, that's because we know our roads. The other people that believe that you should be able to drive in all types of weather and everything else are the
Because they got
problem.
4-wheel drive on their car and they got snow tires and the chain on their tires.
See, but they don't know nothing about that ice though. See, that's the problem we come to. So they feel like, oh, it's just a little snow, but they don't know about that ice up underneath that snow.
Those potholes. Don't forget the potholes.
Those two.
Nah, there's not that much pothole in Georgia as it is up north.
Okay,
Nah.
fair. That's fair.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That's fair.
Marcus, we could fight about that all day.
Oh, see, I don't be up north like that, so you know I'll let you have that.
Marcus, have you ever left Georgia?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love you. I love you, Marcus. You know me. However, as we said, that's our gripe for tonight. But where we're gonna start off tonight? We got anything going on good in the sports?
NBA season started last night. I guess that's all right. Um, but
You
I guess
got wait, sorry to cut you. We got the playoffs for the baseball.
mm-hmm.
We got football.
Yep.
Not basketball. See, that's all I do sports.
It just overlap just for like the month of October-ish.
Yeah, that's it.
And then baseball will kind of fade out, and then you'll just have basketball and football.
Yeah,
Yeah, every
Okay.
year it's pretty much the same.
yeah.
The
So
overlap.
if you a sports fan and you are a sport fan for 3 of those sports, pretty much you occupy for the month of October.
It's a good time of year for you. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good time of year. But besides that, the biggest thing right now in sports is COVID vaccination. Right now in sports.
Let's talk about it, Marcus.
So some big things that happen about this vaccination. So Kyrie is probably the biggest story right now. He's a basketball player who's a pretty good basketball player, is an all-star, who's not going to play this year because I guess they say he doesn't want to get vaccinated. So that's a big story too as well. He's doing some other stuff. He's good. He's doing some really good things in the community. And then we could talk about. I'll take it somewhere else if I talk about this. But then we also have a coach at Washington State who's a head football coach who didn't want to get vaccinated. They fired him. So then on the other end, we have a NHL player who submitted a fake one because he still want to play, but he don't want to get vaccinated. They went on ahead and suspended him because they called this fake paperwork. So this whole thing is around this vaccination issue is crazy. But this is why I wanted to go with it, because I know what people, a lot of people's stance on is that you shouldn't have to be vaccinated in order to play these sports. And this is my opinion, right? It sucks. It's probably somewhat not fair. But one of the things that if you've been in any type of supervisory or management role, is that the number one thing you have to do is protect the company, the brand, or whatever it is. And sometimes some things you have to uniform some things that people are not going to agree with. And you have to do it for the betterment of the company. And when they wanted these people to be vaccinated, it's because the years that they weren't playing, they were losing out on a whole bunch of money. And ain't nothing worse than losing out on a whole bunch of money for these big companies and everything else. So if their rules state this is what should happen in order for you to play for our team, our organization, our sport, you either fall in line or you keep it moving. unfortunately.
And I have to chime in on that one. And if it's something that is required, and even the government is imposing a federal mandate and will find companies for every employee that is not vaccinated. Why wouldn't you believe that when you submit that vaccination card, which is proof of being vaccinated, that there's not a database, just like an e-verify to make sure your green card is a real green card? Are you legal to be in this country? I'm just wondering why you feel that producing that document, you think that is all. If they can bootleg a Gucci bag or a Louis Vuitton bag, that even sometimes the real Louis Vuitton stores get caught with returning a bag and it turns out to be fake. They know this. They had to put something in place. So why would you jeopardize your job, your livelihood for that? If you have a belief or stance on this mandate, this vaccine, I understand there are exemptions. If your job say you get it or you got to go, then that's a choice you have to make. Instead of embarrassing yourself, then get terminated. If you got 10 years, 50 years with this company, you done lost all of that.
Well, the same. Go ahead. Go
The
ahead,
only thing
McKenna.
I would add to that is just in context, when people make unethical or fraudulent decisions, they don't usually think them all the way through to the end. Like we watched the movie about the person robbing the bank, and they have this master plan, but they didn't calculate this one thing in, or they didn't calculate this other thing in. So when you go and you make these decisions that are illegal or unethical, usually you're not thinking it all the way through. You're making it in haste in response to something in this situation that you're trying to get around or avoid. And so here's somebody selling you this fake Gucci or this fake vaccination card, and you're setting yourself for that okie doke because we know how this plays out. We've lived long enough to watch enough TV shows to know that there's a database for everything. I mean, I even shared on the show, I went to the doctor. I had a new doctor, and she said, "Thank you for getting the vaccine." I was like, "Well, how did you know that?" Because I didn't report that to her. She's a brand new doctor. And she was like, "Oh, well, there's a whole database that we could check." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, I
good
think I probably know what database that is.
info. Good info." But I just say that to say, why wouldn't you think that people are tracking this? All the things that people track, this would be definitely one. It's tied to money. We know that it definitely is tied to money. Did she follow
Yeah, right.
that after this commercial? Oh, wait, relax.
And and we're back.
But yeah,
Mhm.
to your point, McKenna, people got to know, like, there's no more. They have to send my paperwork over. It's going to take about 2 weeks for them to know. Nah, they just go click on your name, and pretty much, if they have access, all of your medical history and/or information comes right there to them. It's in the database, so it's not one of those things where it's old school anymore, where you got to go to your specific doctor or anything else. All your information, medical
And I
information.
called and I called the doctor because she was sending me to a specialist or something. So I said, "Do I need to sign a release of information for you to share my medical records with the specialist?" And she kind of blinked, like, that's real old school. Like, no, we're in the same network, so she'll be able to see everything." And in my mind, I was like, wow, so much for privacy, or is that privacy?
Nah, ain't none of that anymore, man. It's once I think it's one of those things where once I don't think you ever have to sign up for it. Maybe you do when you first go into like a situation to where they have that database. Because I used to work with children's a while ago, and of course, they had that database where you can look up information, all the information, medical information that's needed. Of course, they have situations in which, like, because we work for the company, and our daughter and stuff, like we can't just go in there and look at all her medical information and stuff like that. They have a lot of stuff, but yeah, pretty much like you go through there, you see all the times they've been admitted to the hospital, or anything, what was going on and stuff like that. But that's all good information, especially if you're in that field, to know right away. You can't, I see here you've been admitted for this, and this is the same issue. Did you, go get the recommended medicine for it or anything like that? But it's all good information to know. I don't think it's bad unless somebody was request like, nah, I don't want this doctor to know this information about me or anything.
But the thing about healthcare now, it's not private. There are lots of hands that have access to your personal health or protected health information, including your employer. And I think that there is an argument where people are feeling like this is private personal information. No, because the clerk knows if you've been vaccinated, the person at the front desk, like there are people that are handling your personal information that aren't qualified, that aren't trained, that haven't been through classes like HIPAA or confidentiality. People are sending things in email, discussing people's COVID status, like during this pandemic. Oh, so-and-so is going to be out because they tested positive for COVID. Well, you're not supposed to share people's personal medical information in a company email in that regard. And so I think that, there are arguments that people are making about, well, what about my rights and what about my privacy? Well, we know we live in this free world, in this free country. And there's that great illusion of privacy and confidentiality that made sense to us before technology. When things were on paper, you literally had to fill out a release of information, go down, get a copy of your medical records. I mean, I don't know if people remember having to actually pick up the copy of your x-rays to take it over to the surgeon. And then you had to bring it with you, the actual film with you, to the pre-op appointment so they can, pull it up to the light and say, okay, well, you broke your ankle. We're going to put a pin here. We're going to do this. But with the advent of technology, electronic medical records, things are just done electronically. By the time you walk around the corner up the stairs to the next person's office and you give them your name, they have, like you said, Marcus, they have access to everything. And that is telling.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool, but I think it's also like certain people have different type of access to like your medical records. So if you're not like a doctor or medical professional or something like that, you can't get like all the information. You know what I mean? So your employer may get like only thing it may be like your vaccination or something like that, which I think
right.
Which I think is fine. Go ahead.
Because with the HIPAA law, it does says certain things. So I guess like as far as we know that like maybe HIV and even now COVID, like those things, they don't need to be able to get your permission because those are things that they have to report. So maybe that's why. But at the end of the day, it's not worth your livelihood. I'm just saying, as far as getting these fake cards, put it that way. I'm just saying, it's getting real out here.
What happens when people, because there are going to be droves of people that are going to protest and not become compliant and either lose their jobs or get suspended? I mean, there's conversations in corporations and companies where people are quitting left and right, who are refusing to get vaccinated. There are conversations being had about what's going to happen for holiday traffic if 100% of the TSA workers aren't vaccinated. So this conversation is going to gain some momentum as it gets closer to the window of where people aren't really going to have time unless they get the one shot to actually meet the deadline of the mandate.
And that's right. But at the same time, that job that you may quit, there's other job that is going to require the same thing. So pretty much.
So is this one of those you don't want?
Mute.
Oh, sorry. So is this one of those I don't want to follow the rules conversation, or is this one of those I have the